Okay, have you seen what's going on in Wisconsin? Thousands taking to the streets, overrunning the state capitol, yelling at the governor. It is absolutely wild. But that is only the tip of the iceberg. Did you hear about the Wisconsin state senators? The Democratic state senators have fled the state of Wisconsin, and they are in hiding. Why? To avoid voting. A vote that would take away some union rights in Wisconsin. Union workers, well, they're storming Madison. They are furious at the Republican governor who is trying to balance a $3.5 billion deficit without raising taxes. Now, right now in Wisconsin, it is getting ugly, really ugly.
At 3 o'clock in the morning, after a day-long hearing, this is the rebirth of the progressive movement in Wisconsin.
There's all sorts of crazy stuff going on now.
Union! Yeah! Hey, hey, what do you say? Workers' rights are here to stay. Kill the bill! Kill the bill!
I knew there'd be intensity. You know, the other day they predicted 20,000. There were 13,000. I mean, to me, numbers are people. Everybody's got a right to have a say.
And now it's like he's just stabbing me in the back for all of my hard work, and I work hard for my students. They know that, and
Walker.
it is an assault on our families.
We cannot afford to have UW-Madison split. We cannot afford to have the massive cuts from MPS that he is proposing. We cannot afford to have these things because that, in the long term, will set us back exponentially.
We still have a $3 billion deficit. So the only way we're going to be able to solve it is to get management flexibility so you're able to actually reduce costs. That has not happened under the negotiating system that we have had.
Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker joins us on the phone. Good evening, Governor. And Governor, it was expected today there would be a vote in the state Senate, and you need one more state senator to show up, a Democrat. Where are they tonight? Do you know?
They're hiding out in another state. You know, unlike the vast majority of state and local government employees, most of those employees, 300,000, showed up for work today, unlike those around the Capitol, and unlike those 14 state senators, the Democrats, who decided to hide out apparently down in Rockford, Illinois. Other workers showed up in the public sector. Other workers, taxpayers, certainly showed up. They're hiding out in hopes that somehow that will test their resolve, if anything. I think it's made the Republicans in the Assembly and the Senate stronger. They're not going to be bullied. They're not going to be intimidated. I've said all along, the thousands of people who are storming the Capitol have every right to be heard, but I'm not going to let them overshadow the voices of the millions of taxpayers in the state of Wisconsin who deserve to be heard as well.
So what's going to happen at this standoff to get this vote? Do you have any way to get those state senators back from Illinois? Have they indicated they intend to come back, or is this going to be, basically a standoff to see who cries uncle first?
Well, I think the bottom line is we're making an appeal for senators to come and do their job. My hope would be people, regardless of how they feel about the bill, pro or con, should all agree that people are elected, that if they talk about democracy, democracy doesn't come by hiding out in another state, avoiding any real debate about a measure. They should come to the Senate. I made a personal appeal to all the senators to come back, to do their job, to take as much time as they want to debate, to offer as many amendments as they want, but to not hide out down in Illinois as a way of trying to not deal with this. The voters have a right to have a say on this, and people were elected in November. We should have a right to have a vote on it. We're going to push this. Senate rules allow them, and they're going to try again tomorrow to compel them to come back. If they don't, Senate rules allow them to have law enforcement go out and seek them out. But I'm going to, beyond that, just make the personal appeal to members of the state Senate that they should all show up and do the job they were elected to and the job they're paid to do, and not hide out somewhere else.
As a practical matter, can you send law enforcement to another state to pick up state senators? Is there any authority to do that? Or do you have to get the cooperation, for instance, of the state of Illinois to do this?
Yeah, that's a really big question for us. I mean, the bottom line is it's very much similar to when you've had redistricting battles. Lawmakers go to other states as well from other states. I think in Texas and Oklahoma years ago that happened. Again, I hope it doesn't get to that. That would be ridiculous. I think a lot of parents in the Madison area around the Capitol have become frustrated with teachers calling in sick, making this apparently about the children when it's not about the children at all. The children are not being asked to pay more for a relatively minor amount for pensions and for health care. You know, this is a bold political move, but it is ultimately a very modest, a very mild series of requests. We're still asking people to pay less than what the national average is for pensions and for health care, yet you'd act like you were taking their firstborn child here. This is what happens when you have these kind of political high stakes.
Tell me if I'm correct, and I mean I've gone through all the newspapers in the state, tried to read everything I can, but in exchange for bearing more costs and losing collective bargaining rights or leverage, are the workers promised no layoffs and no furloughs? Is that what you're offering in exchange?
What we've said, it's not as part of a negotiation, but what I've said for this budget, which is $3.6 billion short because of past raids of federal stimulus aid and all the other problems in the past, said to balance that budget, we need to have these tools, and in doing so, we can save $300 million from state government employees alone for the next two-year budget. That's the equivalent of otherwise having to lay off 5,500 employees. I'm not laying off any mass group of employees in this next budget, and I'm not doing any furloughs. So things that have been done in the past would not be done there. Plus, these people will no longer have union dues automatically deducted from their payroll. That's a $500, $600 or more savings for each of these union employees. There's a lot of things happening here that I don't think all of them are aware of.
And I think it's sort of, as just a historic note, and one of the reasons why this might be particularly raw is it's sort of interesting, is that the American Federation of State, County, Municipal Employees was founded in Madison, Wisconsin in 1936. So there's a long history of interesting labor law and labor battles. Governor, thank you, and of course we're going to be watching, and maybe we'll even show up if this continues to go on. Thank you, Governor.
We welcome you up in Wisconsin. Always good to have you back.
Thank you, sir.